Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stay. That's Steve Stay.
Hi everyone.
That's little Rose back there, that little white fluff. And this is Coloring Bliss, and we are here to discuss what is Lightfast and does it really matter to you? And the other thing we're going to talk about is there are companies out there that are faking their Lightfast ratings. We have a lot to discuss here, and I have a brand new product we're going to color with Lightfastness ratings. So let's talk all about Lightfast. Hold up, Jennifer. Before you get started, I want to tell everyone about our current giveaway. We are giving away these beautiful BAMBINO crayons that I reviewed last week. The giveaway for these ends June 23rd, 2021, so get your entries in. The link for this giveaway is in the video description, and if you're watching this video after this giveaway is over, don't worry, we have some amazing, really exciting giveaways planned for you, so make sure you're subscribed and you hit that like button so that I know you're enjoying these giveaways. We also have some fun coloring pages for you. This is the coloring page I'm about to color for you, and I want to give it away as a free download for everyone for a limited time. So look for the link for this coloring page. I can't wait for you to see how this one turns out in this video. We also have some new coloring pages. These were designed and created by some of our new artists that are collaborating with us here on Coloring Bliss. This one we want to give away also as a free download limited time. So follow the link in the video description if you would like to download this. By the way, happy Father's Day to all of you dads out there. So this one is also a downloadable free for limited time. Now the following ones are part of our premium coloring library where we have hundreds of coloring pages available for you. It's only $5 a month to become a member of that coloring community over on Coloring Bliss. So come and check it out. These are also done by our new collaborative artists. Look how cute these are. So much fun. So you can come on over and download these. Cute little cat. This is one of my favorites from one of our new artists. Isn't it cute? Look at this dad and this little girl. So many fun things for you to color over at Coloring Bliss. Check out the links. Now back to Jennifer. Okay, so first thing, let's define what Lightfast is. So, and I've got notes right here so I can read it. Lightfastness refers to the chemical stability of a pigment under long exposure to light. So that's a fancy phrase for basically what it means is if that thing that you colored is exposed to light, how long will the colors last, and will the colors stay vibrant and strong, or will they fade, or will they even change totally? Will the tone and hue change? That's what Lightfastness is referring to. And there's actual standards, testing procedures set in place to test art products to see if they are Lightfast. So some companies will spend a lot of money to have their products tested for their Lightfastness qualities, okay? Now, does this matter? Okay, so we're going to talk about, does this matter to you? Should you care? That's one thing we need to talk about. And then we're going to talk about how some companies we suspect are just throwing random Lightfastness ratings onto their products because they think that it's going to help them sell their products, okay? So let's start off by talking about the product that started all of this. Okay, this is a new, well, it's not brand new, but I think it's been around for a year, maybe 2 years now. This is the Derwent Lightfast line of color pencils. So they have created this line of pencils to compete with the Caran Luminance line of pencils. Now, the Caran Luminance line has been around for a really long time, and it was specifically designed for professional artists, and it has light-fast, very amazing pencils for professional artists. And they're called Luminance 6901 for a very specific reason, because they were tested to one of those standards I was just talking about. Their specific standard that they used is the ASTM D6901. 6901.
I didn't know that. I always wondered why it was 6901.
Yeah, because that's the standard they used. And like I said, it's a very expensive process to have all the pigments, all the pencils tested and shown that it is light fast, okay? So that's why one of the main reasons why these pencils are as expensive as they are. And we'll talk about price here in a minute, okay?
Do you have any idea how they do that?
That's the problem.
Because they can't let it sit for 100 years and wait and see what happens.
No, they have special lights that they shine at. It's actually two different lights that they shoot at. They color it down. It's even a certain process of coloring it down onto a certain paper, and then they shoot certain lights at it in a certain place. I think it's in Arizona, but I'm not positive. And this is part of the problem, is a person like you and I, we can't easily go and research and find out about these testing things. Who are these people that are doing these tests? And how do we, as independent colorists, get these results outside of these companies? We have to take these companies at their word that the results are true in what they're reporting to us. Yeah. So it's a little frustrating to me as a colorist that I can't call up, hey, Mr. ASTM D6901, tell me about Caran d'Ache. Tell me about Derwent. Tell me about Arteza. I can't do that. There's no art police, regulation.
So do you know how long is the 6901 standard supposed to last?
100 years.
100.
They're all tested at 100 is what I've understood. But again, all of this is vague and difficult to understand because it's all buried in jargon and it's really confusing. Now, these guys right here, Derwent, their light fast pencils have been tested under two standards, the ASTM D6901, and they also had their pencils tested under the Blue Wool standard. Blue Wool is a standard that is more widely known, especially internationally, and it's being used not just for color pencils, but for paints and other products as well. So it's more widely recognized as a light fast standard, okay? So they went above and beyond what Caran d'Ache has done and used two standards to get their light fast rating. So I think that's pretty cool. Both have 100 pencils in their lines. Both are saying they're highly light fast, although I think all 100 pencils in this line are considered to be the 100-year light fast standard, but not all 100 pencils in this line hit the 100 years. Some of them I think are only 50 years. Which is still a long time. We're going to talk about that too here in just a minute. But that should kind of give you a feel for what we're talking about. And again, like I said, some companies, because they know that you and I are talking about light fast and we kind of think this is important and maybe we want our pencils to be light fast, they're just throwing, we think, are just throwing light fast information onto their pencils. Are they really getting tested? How do we know as consumers whether they did? How do we check up on them? Or are they just throwing random stars onto their products? We don't know, you guys. So I
would think the only one that I would trust is if they actually have that seal. They're a big company and they have said that they have paid for that. Because like you said, it's probably an expensive process to go through. It's very expensive.
I know it is because I've talked to a person a couple years ago from Caran d'Ache, and he was saying it's wildly expensive to get the ASTM D6901 to do that.
So these little Amazon companies that only sell on Amazon they're
not doing this.
Yeah, that are getting.
I can't say they're not, but I can't believe
if they don't have that seal, they're not. Otherwise, they would put that seal on it. They'd put it everywhere.
So my advice as a fellow colorist consumerist, as far as these light fast ratings go on products, companies like Derwent, Caran d'Ache, Prismacolor, Faber-Castell, the big boys. If they are claiming Lightfast ratings, I would tend to trust and believe those because they have a lot to lose. I don't think they would lie about that, because if they got caught lying, we would all crush them. So I don't think they would lie. But smaller, independent little companies that are claiming these things,
that are white labeling their products,
that we've talked about before, I would tend to think they're not. I think it's a marketing scheme and they're just throwing random stars onto their products. I can't, there's no art police out there that can back me up, but that would be my advice to you as a fellow consumerist. Okay, so let's keep talking now. Is Lightfast even important? Should you even worry about this? Who is this Lightfast product for? Let's answer that question first. Who is this for? All right, Lightfast quality type products are mainly for the professional artist. So who is that? That's someone who is doing commission work. They usually are being asked to do like a portrait or a landscape, or they're doing stuff that's going to be hung up in a museum, right? So they choose products, art products, paints, papers, canvases, color pencils that are of the best quality, so that typically their products will turn out beautiful and they can charge a premium price, right? So these are very much towards them. They look beautiful, they're packaged extra nice, and because they're extra light fast, they can tell their clients they're going to last a long time. Okay, so that's their primary market when they are selling these out. So that's another reason why they can, charge a little extra more for these. Okay, so as a colorist, though, when you look at this and think, should I buy these for myself? Let's ask a couple questions. One, will these pencils make you a better colorist? No. There's nothing magical here that's going to extra blend better than any other pencil you've ever held in your hand. They're not going to layer better than any pencil you've ever had. They're not magic, you guys.
In fact, I remember with the Luminance, you actually prefer not to color with those, right? They're not your favorite pencil to color with.
No, they're not my favorite to color with. They're fun. When I swatch them here in a minute, you'll see. In fact, I'm going to put in the swatching footage right now. Okay, first you'll see me swatch the Derwent Lightfast. We're going to swatch them on white. And then we'll swatch the Derwent Lightfast on black. And then you're going to see the Caran d'Ache get swatched onto white. And now you'll see the Caran d'Ache swatches on black. Okay, before I send you back to our other discussion, I thought we'd look at the swatches really quick. And I wanted to mention that we are not sponsored by either Caran d'Ache or Derwent. We purchased the Derwent pencils with our own money. The Caran d'Ache pencils were sent to us by the company, but that was like, I don't know how many years ago, and it was without any obligation to do anything for them or with them. So that you know our position here with the companies. Here are the swatches. Let's look at the white first. This is the Derwent Lightfast pencils here. The only notes I made was that the natural brown felt scratchy right here, and that the scarlet pencil is off-centered, you guys, which is pretty sad when you consider the pencil is like $4. It's pretty off-center. Now, I've heard Derwent has really good customer service, so I bet if I contacted them, they would replace that pencil for me. Okay, but other than that, oh, and I did mention, look at the strange color choice for a 12 color set. one kind of light blue, one kind of bluish green, and lots in the browns. Like, it's odd. For a 12 color set, you would expect something that would span the color wheel just a little bit more.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
A little odd. But that's, personal preference there. Okay, let's look at the Caran d'Ache. Now, Caran d'Ache, you get 20 pencils, so way more variety. I will say there was a lot of crumbs, which we'll look at on the black over here in just a second. And that the raw umber pencil, this one right here, was scratchy. But you do get a really beautiful variety, some good blues, good greens. So this 120 set would cover a lot of coloring situations. And they're beautiful. You comment below. Do you prefer the look of the Luminance on white? Or do you prefer the look of the Derwent on white? Now let's look at the black. Okay, right here, this is the Derwent Lightfast. This is the Caran d'Ache Luminance. First thing to note are the whites. The Luminance and the Luminance white is considered to be a pretty famous white, very opaque and a good white to have. I think the Derwent Lightfast has given it a run for its money. They're both very beautiful whites. Do you think this one has a little more yellow in it, Steve? He's my color guru. He can see color pretty good.
I don't know. It may be a little bit warmer, but it could be because it's on the black too, so I don't know.
Yeah. So the Lightfast by Derwent are considered an oil base, which are typically a little bit more translucent. And I would say that's kind of true if you look at the yellows. This one's a little bit more translucent than this yellow, but it's not wildly more translucent. I think they both look beautiful on black.
Yeah, they do.
And
I do think the Derwent, I don't know, some of those Derwent colors seem a little stronger, like that scarlet. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, the reds. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
all of them look
they're
beautiful.
Really, both of them are really pretty.
And you can see down here more crumbs. Black paper's a great way to show off a crumb problem, and there are definitely more crumbs going on with the Luminance than with the Lightfast. So I think that's just a formula situation that may bother you. It may not bother you, but it's just a property of the pencils. Okay, that's the swatches. So as you can see, both sets of pencils have beautiful, vibrant colors, and they're gorgeous pencils. Really fun to color with because of that. But there's nothing like magical here, okay? For the most part, with color pencils, what you need to do is learn how to do good blending, combine the color pencils with proper paper, and practice. So even if you have Crayolas in your hand, you'll be able to get beautiful coloring with them. If you know how to blend properly and combine it with correct paper, you'll be able to get a beautiful product in the end, okay? The difference here is if you take this and color the same thing with Crayola that you do with these and put them side by side and up on a wall, 10 years from now, supposedly, what you colored with these will have the same color and same vibrancy that you did the day you colored. But the one with Crayola most likely will have faded a little bit. And sometimes the pigments will even change totally. I've heard that some pigments in light will actually change, like from blue to purple, like will actually change, not just fade, but change. So that's the difference here, okay? Now, as a colorist who doesn't necessarily display their end result or sell their end result, I still want these pencils. Why do I want these pencils? First and foremost, I collect color pencils. I love them. I think they're beautiful. They don't dry up and fall apart like markers and other like water-based type tools do. So I feel like they're an investment that I can pass on to children and grandchildren. So as a collector in the art world, I love collecting color pencils. It's one of my passions. So I just want them. And I'm an adult, and I have a right to collect and be passionate about the things I want to be passionate about. So that's one reason I want them. The second reason is I like the experience. I want to test them and try them compared to Crayola, compared to Prismacolor. I like the experience. So that's another reason. Another reason is I am a 40-year-old something woman, and someday I'm going to have grandchildren. And what if I do want to color them something that maybe I want to hang on the wall, and 40 years from now, my grandchildren can still look at it and say, "Whoa, it's still beautiful." 40 years and grandma's passed and gone. Well, maybe 40 years I'll still be around. Let's say 60 years. 60 years from now, grandma's passed and gone, and that thing she colored is still there. Now, that is a light-fast issue, isn't it? So let's talk about that. What can I do if I decide to color something with these and I want it to get the most out of the light-fast properties that are here? What do I need to do to make that happen? Because there's a secret line, kind of like the small print to all of this, that will make or break this 100-year promise. And the phrase is museum conditions, you guys. Let me show you. I printed off the Derwent Lightfast chart here with all their colors. And at the very bottom, there's the small fine print. Can you read it? I underlined it. Under museum conditions. So what does that mean? Let me read it to you, okay? In all the literature for both sets of pencils, they talk about museum conditions, and that's how you get up to that 100-year point of the light fastness. Now, there's actually two things that will help you get to that 100-year. Museum conditions and then other coloring variables. So when you're actually coloring, you have to think about this as well, all right? So let's read this. Light fastness and permanence are two different things, not strictly accurate because of all the factors. Humidity. Okay, so think about a museum. When you go to a museum, they're humid. What's the word, Steve?
Well, they have humidity controls. I don't know. They control the humidity.
Control the humidity. They control the temperature. They control the kind of light, right? They even they'll control the pollution in the room. All of those factors are part of museum conditions, okay? So all of those things will react and cause the pigments to not last as long as the 100 years, okay? Even the paper you use can cause a variable in all of this. So you have to be careful of the paper. So for optimum performance, first thing you have to do is use high quality, pH neutral, heavyweight paper. That's the first thing. Second thing, you have to create strong, even layers and avoid damaging the paper or the substrate that you're working on, whether it's canvas or whatever. So lots of layers. So they want you to put a lot of pigment down and and not hurt the paper that you're working on. Don't hang your work in direct sunlight. That makes total sense, right? If you put it right in the sun, it's going to bleach it out really fast. Mount your work behind glass. And preferably with an ultraviolet absorbing on the glass. That's again museum situation, right? And then remember that light fastness will be affected if you do any kind of mixed media situation in the coloring. So that means no gel pens. That means no odorless mineral spirits. Even if you use an eraser, if you use alcohol marker, if you use anything other than those color pencils, you've now introduced a variable that was not tested when they did the blue wool or the ASTM D6901 testing. None of that was a part of that testing, and they can't guarantee the 100 years anymore. So, under museum conditions, and don't introduce any strange variables. So it's complicated, isn't it? So, again, let me give you some very practical, modern colorist advice. Take a digital photo. That's what I've been doing with a lot of my art. As soon as I'm done with it and I like it, take a digital photo, you guys. As long as digital art persists in the world, which hopefully will be a long time, that digital photo is not going to fade, you guys. In fact, a lot of professional artists, that's what they do. They can use any art supply they want at that point. Light fastness doesn't matter anymore because they just finish it. Looks great. Maybe it's not even dry yet, but it looks great. This is the way I want to hand it over to my professional commission person. Take that digital photo, hand it off, and it's a done deal. So, yeah.
That's, most prints, copies of art. Obviously the artist doesn't draw it 100 times,
No.
So it gets scanned and then printed based on that.
Yeah. So digital photos is where it's at. So, and if you're like me and you're, the vast majority of art that you do, if you're like me, is colored. And then usually I take a digital photo of it, share it on social media, or just keep it on my phone so I can show my sisters or my mom or whoever and say, look what I did. Then I usually put it in a sheet protector and it goes into a binder. And it's pretty protected in that situation. The sheet protectors are archival. The binder is closed up, so there's no light, no dust, no anything really getting to it. And it's pretty safe. So that's a pretty good way to do it. And if you do it that way, you can use pretty much any art supply you want, and you don't have to spend the tons of money that I'm about to tell you these pencils cost. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
So it sounds like, again, you would buy them pretty much for professional artists.
Professional artists who know their work. They can sell their work a little bit more because they did it with professional tools. And maybe that piece is going to be displayed in museum conditions.
And then you have your colorists who maybe do display their work. Maybe you do care if
maybe I care that my grandchildren are going to want to look at it from 40 years from now.
Well, or even, if you plan on just hanging it on your wall and you do want it to last for years.
Yeah, that's another situation. Or if you're like me and you love to collect these types of tools and you want them in your stash, then you're the next person to buy them too.
But other than that,
you really don't need it.
Sounds like for the majority of people, you don't.
No.
You don't need it for the light fast purpose.
No, you really don't. Not for the light fast purpose. So, but we are going to color with them here, and you can see how they perform, how they layer. You've already seen them swatched out, but maybe you're still going to want them because a lot of artists are loving them, especially these new Derwent Lightfast line. I'm hearing a lot of great buzz about them, and so I'm excited to actually color with them and see how they perform for me on my little gnome here. That's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, the last thing I wanted to do was just break down the prices for you so you can kind of get a feel for just how expensive these guys are. Luminance is more expensive than the Derwent Lightfast. They come in sets of 12, 20, 40, 76, and I think soon a 100 because within the last year or so they came out with 20 new colors. These are wax-based with a 3.8 millimeter core. So these also have a bigger core, and these are technically oil-based pencils. So that's the biggest difference. A little bit smaller core, wax-based, oil-based, but remember the wax and oil is more of a preference thing because all pencils are a mix of wax and oil, okay? This one's higher on the wax, this one's higher on the oil. Okay, as far as the way the pencils look, this one, it's just a beautiful pencil with silver writing on them. The Lightfast information is on them, name and color with a color dip on the end. Okay, these guys right here for the full set is full set right now, which is 76 pencils, $233.69. So if you buy the full set, that's about $3.07 per pencil. And if you buy open stock, one pencil at a time, $4.71 per pencil. That's Dick Blick prices, okay? And US prices. Derwent Lightfast. They come in sets of 12, 24, 36, 72, and 100. Right now, the 100 set is only $281.99. That's only $282 per pencil, okay? So you get a bigger core, and it's less per pencil. These guys, $3.07 per pencil for the 76 set. This one was $2.82 per pencil for the 100 set, okay? Open stock, they're about the same cost per pencil. $4.10 here, $4.71. Still a little bit more over here on the Luminance side, okay? And then let's look at one of these guys here. It's a typical Derwent pencil. It has that funky little offset stripe with a dip on the end, but they did not do a shiny metallic writing. Thank you, Derwent. Okay, it says made in Britain, Derwent Lightfast. It's got the name of the color and then the Lightfast rating on it. No color number. Interesting, just a color name. Okay, so that is...
I like the grain of that wood is really
it's beautiful.
Pretty.
Both tools are gorgeous.
Like look at that one.
Yeah. This packaging is a little nicer. They have the little coffins. That's what I keep calling this type of packaging, with the foam coffins. So yeah, they've gone a little bit above and beyond with the packaging here, which I really like. The Derwent tins are problematic for me. I tend to put some tape on them because they pop open too easy. See that? So if you do buy them, just put a little tape on it. I use the painter's tape and keep them shut that way. So both lines are very expensive. So it's up to you if you want to try them out. We've already talked about whether it's right or not for you. Let's do some coloring and see. I'm going to use both sets together, side by side, on this coloring page, because I want to see, like, when I move to the Derwents, do I feel like, ooh, yeah, these are better? Or is it when I move to the Luminance that I'm like, ooh, these are amazing? Let's see how they feel. Enjoy some coloring. The first thing I decided to do on this charming little coloring page was the little hill background. I thought it would be a perfect place to play around with all those browns and earth tones that came in the Derwent Lightfast set. So I gathered them all up, including the browns from the Luminance set, and sort of mixed them in together. Now both sets of pencils look very similar when you don't look too closely at them. So I kind of mix and match them together and then started to color the rings, doing a pretty heavy, hard burnishing pressure. So I thought this would be a good place to begin to see if I could notice the feel of the pencils side by side like this. I wanted to know, do I feel like, oh, I really like the feel of the Derwent, or I really like the feel of the Caran d'Ache. So this is the first side by side test, just some simple burnishing coloring. Okay, it's all done. What do you think, Steve?
Wow. I love it. It's cute.
Very colorful.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely used a combination of both types of pencils. I tried to go back and forth, grab from both boxes, and then sort of ignore like what pencil was in my hand so that I could be like, oh, that pencil feels good, and notice what was in my hand. Or if there was a scratchy pencil, I would notice, you know. And I've got to be honest, about halfway through, I stopped noticing a difference. They both felt the same, despite the fact that one is supposedly oil-based and one is supposedly wax-based. I didn't feel a difference, really. They both performed beautifully. They're creamy. I mean, look at what I did on the grass down here. Basically what I did was big swatches of the mid-tone green with a few little streaks of the dark green, and then I went over the whole thing with the light green, and it just smeared the whole thing down and made this cool...
Look at those deep green colors in the mushrooms. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then I got some really cool things going on up here in the big mushrooms. So I did blending on the main characters and on the mushrooms, and then the background was just basic burnishing coloring because I needed to get it done. You know, it was a lot of coloring for color pencil. So burnishing with these types of pencils is, you know, pretty easy because they're creamy. They, like a Prismacolor, they go down pretty creamy. They're not as creamy as a Prismacolor, but they are very creamy. So
our great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren might enjoy this piece.
True. There's no mixed media. I don't know what's the words for the paper you're supposed to use. High quality, pH neutral, heavyweight paper. It's definitely heavyweight, but is it pH neutral? I don't know.
No idea.
So
probably not.
I don't know, but I did do tons of layers. So technically, if I were to store this in a humidity, temperature, atmospheric controlled setting, perhaps protected by glass with an ultraviolet absorbent coating, it may last 100 years. That would be what year? 2121. It should still look like that. That's kind of weird to think about.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That when in 2121, it should still look like that. So I would like to know, you guys, do you think the Lightfast thing is worth it for you? I mean, I know, like we discussed, Lightfast products are definitely worth it for a certain group, but is it worth it for you? And do you think they did a good payoff? That's what I'd like to know. So yeah, comment below. Let me know. Do you think a Lightfast product with all its fancy testing and high price is worth it for you? We would like to know, huh, Rose? She's tired. She's like, Mom, we've been sitting here for 4.5 hours. Are we done yet? We're done. Should we go have a treat? Should we go do something? Yeah, we're going to go do something. And so should you. Go color something, you guys. And have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everyone.